Maverick News. The world is watching.
Well, you know, we have a guest here that's kind of a last minute addition to the program. So we're just going to fly by the seat of our pants here tonight. And joining us is the one and only Adrien Thomas. Hello. How are you, Adrien?
Good day, Rick. How are you? And how are you, Lori?
I'm good. Thanks.
Talk
Adrien.
about strange bedfellows.
Indeed.
And these are the things that nobody talks about because it is instilled. It's systematic racism, but it's also because of economical, inequality. Because they do not want the Native American to rise.
I keep hearing that this similar talk from within the freedom movement, from people involved in some apolitical party. Similar words over and over again. It seems to me like somebody's got something cooking and that somebody's got something planned, but we're not really being told exactly what that is.
I'll tell you why a lot of people are not saying too much right now, because they need PR. That's one. They need to know who their leaders are going to be. That's the second thing, because there's a lot of ego putting out there, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's just a matter of having people have to rise and come together, and and as you know, it's pretty hard what's going on with the trucker movement right now, how everybody's getting separated into whole nine bits. And that's probably the natural process of coming together and finding who needs to be there. One of the things that I've always stressed when in March and everything like that, why don't we just put all our differences aside? Independence Party, Buffalo Party, Area 51, all these, Alberta 51, all you guys come together and let's just sit here and talk. But then they said, no, everybody has their own ideology. So now what do? We rip each other apart until who comes together. I know it is what it is, but I mean, we're still in infant stages of 2 years of this this crazy talk that's been going on, or this, the COVID-19 talk, the freedom talk, and everything like that. I think it's coming together, starting to come together slowly, but still people are still getting weeded out. I know what you're talking about when that comes out to, but like I said, hopefully these guys can, stop the fighting or infighting and come together, because there are some smart people in that crowd. So
sounds to me like there's some
excuse me.
Yeah,
I have a question, if I could jump in. I was just curious. Could you show us your T-shirt?
sure.
Yeah, to bring it close to the camera so people can see it better.
There you go.
Could you explain what that's all about? What that logo is all about?
I think I've done it quite a bit of time. And you're in the United States, right? That was our original Thunder, not this symbol, but we had the swastika that was ours before in Canada, United States, go South America. When you look at the stars, the Big Dipper, there's 7 stars there, and that was considered our grandfather teachings, the seven teachings. So what happens is every season it moves 90 degrees. 90 degrees, 90 degrees. And you put it on the ground, it is the swastika. And that is considered the Thunderbird. That is the 4 directions, the 4 kingdoms that we always knew. And that was understanding that we had. So, and that's from my grandfather's teachings to me orally. And that
when
was.
I look at that, Adrien, I see something completely different. I'm a historian.
Yep.
Study a lot of World War II history. And I've seen that before. And maybe you haven't. Maybe you've been living
I have.
under a rock
I
or
totally have.
something. But Rick, could you please bring up this image that I have on the screen for you? Do you know what that is, Adrien?
That has the 4 or 5 spring. Yeah, I know what that is.
It looks just like your T-shirt. So
Yeah.
that is the emblem of Nazi Germany, for those out there in the audience who maybe fell asleep in history class.
No, I love this topic, and this is the same topic me and Rick Walker had.
Yeah, I've
Twice
heard
already.
you talk about it before, and it sounds like a bunch of nonsense to me. So my question for you is, of all, there are many, I'm from Oklahoma, this is Indian territory.
Yep.
There are many, many ancient sun symbols in Native American culture that you could choose to represent your nationalist
But why would we?
movement. The question is why, given the history of the 20th century, why would you choose a swastika, and why would you put it on a flag, and why would you put it on a t-shirt that looks exactly like the Nazi Germany emblem? Why would you do that?
Why do you think, why would we, in our honest opinion, and no offense, why would we give up our symbol for your guys' war?
It's not
For
my
your
war.
freedoms.
We didn't start the war. Nazi Germany started the war.
And you think that had a lot to do with freedoms?
Not me.
Well, why do you think we should give it up?
The United States entered that war to defeat Nazi Germany. And we worked with the Soviet Union and our allies so that we would never have to look at that symbol again. So why are you putting it in our faces? And do you understand how offensive that symbol is, especially now with the rise of anti-Semitism in the world? Why are you propagating that?
Can you put up the cross? Can you put the cross up there as well too?
You want to mix the Christian cross?
No.
With the Nazi
Just put the
swastika?
Christian cross up there. And why do you think?
What the hell?
No, why you think that that symbol killed a lot of people, but you dismiss the fact of the cross with the Native Americans?
Okay, you're trying to change the subject.
It's not
Answer my
about changing
question.
the subject. It's about, this is your guys' war, not ours.
It's not my war.
Whose
We
war
fought
was it?
Because Nazi Germany started it, and because
Okay,
they
well,
killed
here's another
millions of
question I wanted
Jews.
you to ask. Why are we still in our concentration camps up until 1951, 3 years after, and yet we were not allowed till 1978 to study our culture underneath your guys' rule of law?
Stop deflecting and answer.
No, I'm
the
not
question.
deflecting it, because this is
Why
a very
do
important
you
subject as per the
embrace-
Indian Act.
Why do you embrace the swastika, and why?
Because
do
it's
you have
our
an
symbol
image
to
on
begin
your
with.
T-shirt that
It's
looks
ours.
exactly like the Nazi swastika? Why?
So
Adrien?
now I guess we're Nazis now, Native Americans.
You put it on your T-shirt, buddy. You
No,
tell me.
this is our symbol to begin with, and this is the thing that I'm always going to express. You see, one of the things, I know, just allow me to finish this first. You see, when I went to PPCLI, Princess Patricia's Light Infantry here, so 2008, up in Edmonton here, they told me, wear this poppy. My grandfather told me, respect the soldier, but never wear that poppy. And I sat there and I said, I'm not allowed to wear that poppy, nor do I agree with it. Although I will take that, I will respect you. The guy said to me, you don't understand. If Germany won, you'd be speaking German right now. Do you know what I told him? I speak English. What is the difference? What is the difference? I'll ask you that, Lori. What is the difference?
There's a big difference between German and English. What the hell are you talking about?
The point is this.
This is nonsense.
We were still in
brother.
those concentration camps, and we lost it. It doesn't matter if we spoke German or English. And this is the reason why we're doing that walk. You guys had freedoms. We never did. There's a big difference. And because of that, I'm going to step up for our traditions and culture.
Well, I've been paying attention to you and your movement for quite some time, and you know, my take on it is quite different. I have heard the way that you speak about the Jews. I know how you feel about the Jews.
I don't feel
And I
bad about the
also
Jews. It's not
heard-
about that. It's the aspect of the religion of the aspect of it. It's not, people have to understand the history, as well as the history of Canada, the history of Native Americans, the history of your people. You guys used to be natives to a land at one time, haven't you? I don't know where your heritage is or where you came from, but you guys used to be native to a
Ireland
land at
and
one time.
Wales, if you're curious.
Okay,
Ireland and
well, a
Wales.
long time ago, it used to be probably Germania at one time, right? The land of Germania. The
your
point is,
point?
you used to be native to that land, and then colonization taking you away. Now, you think you own land, you think you own that that homeland that you got, but colonization has taken it away. Now you're in the system, which is totally fine. It's a nice system. We have territory, Treaty 6, Treaty 7, Treaty 8, just like territory up in United States all the way down the line, and you expect us to be fully colonized. And to the aspect of destroying the treaty, and yet you expect me to respect or understand your guys' perverse wars. That's not our war. That was your guys' war. You say Germany, but you went to that war.
You're damn right. Yeah, we entered that
Okay,
war.
what was asked?
To
3 things were
smash
asked in that war.
fascism.
There was 3 things that were asked in that war on that treaty on the water.
Back.
There was 3 things that were asked on that water. First and foremost, a seat of power, United Nations, used to be called the League of Nations. The second one was to pay repayments for the First World War. And the last thing was this. What was it? Israel for the Jews. That's what they asked for. And guess what happened? Every single thing happened. It's all about power to begin with. We're not stupid as Native Americans. We lost every single thing to your guys' power. And this is still going on. Deny it, because that's the truth.
What I hear coming from you is you're bringing back the swastika because it's the symbol of your people or whatever. You don't like Jews.
No, I like Jews.
That's not what you've said. I've heard you before.
No, I said Zionists.
I see you dancing. Oh, okay, Zionists, whatever. I've actually heard you use the word Jews repeatedly, and you want to
say the fake Jews?
And you want to overthrow the government.
Jews used to be a tribe a long time ago, weren't they?
And you want
and then they became a religion.
The government.
Sooner or later, people are going to use Native Americans as a religion.
I just heard you say a few moments ago that your plan is to overthrow the government of Canada.
I didn't say that.
From the crown.
I didn't say that. We can separate from the crown. We didn't say. I did not say overthrow the government
so quickly. Listen, I think you're talking a lot of nonsense. I think you're a racist, and I think you're a Nazi, and I'm done. And I'll be leaving this conversation because I don't dialogue with Nazis.
I don't think it's racism.
Good night.
You too. Have a good night. That was a good conversation.
Well, you know how I feel about it. And I still feel, Adrien, that it's a completely inappropriate use of the symbol. I think that you blow smoke when it comes to that. And I think there are people backing you, and I think you have a plan. And I think that you're not being transparent. And I think that Lori's kind of on the money, honestly. And I do respect you. I understand the oppression that First Nations peoples have suffered in this country. So I tend to cut you a lot of slack because I do see that things need to be fixed. But
nobody's going to fix them.
Not the way.
Rick, nobody's going to fix them. I'll tell you one thing. We have to have these uncomfortable discussions regardless of anything, even going back to World War II. People are going to say this is racism. This is not racism at all.
No, Adrien, we don't have to have these uncomfortable discussions
because
these matters really we should have learned from our history, but clearly you haven't, and other people
haven't.
No,
I actually am bringing them back to the aspect because people haven't. Why are we still in the reservations underneath this Indian Act?
And why are we tonight seeing a situation where we're seeing a massive rise in hatred, bigotry, racism, and people's lives being lost because of this situation in the Middle East that is spreading worldwide and is threatening to turn into an actual third world war?
It has nothing to do with racism. It has everything to do with power.
Well, racism too.
Well, it turns into racism in the aspect of media.
And I know the story, and I'm hearing the same anti-Semitic tropes over and over again, and the age-old story and the scapegoating. The Jews control the media and the pharmaceutical companies and the banking and they have all the power. And so we have to hold them accountable. And it's very clear to me that over the past 3 years, this narrative has been spun up using twisted language to indoctrinate
all we need is
people
nationalism in
down
Canada.
into
That's
this
all we need.
anti-Semitic rabbit hole. And nationalism, yeah, nationalism is one thing, but when you start associating nationalism with swastikas and that kind of ideology, and honestly, it's not just nationalism on your part, it's an ethno-nationalism, which is very akin to Nazi Germany, quite honestly. And I find it honestly disgusting, disturbing. It's out of place. It's misguided. I still cut you a lot of slack because you are a leader for your people. I wish that you could see the other side of this, but you've dug your heels in, and I think that you're leading people down a path of destruction. And you're not being honest with people.
I don't think I am. I'm actually
because you do have a plan of some kind, and I can see that this is a much larger thing that affects really all of Canada, and it's coming from there's other international forces at play here too. I can certainly see that. And whatever you're tied in with, you're not being honest with people. There are other people behind you that you're not revealing.
First, we're going to do what we got to do in order to get what we need to talk about. And the truth is, we have to talk about the real issues because nobody is. You think Justin Trudeau just got over that mountain to just say, oh, there's inflation. We already knew inflation was going to be there. You knew, everybody knew.
That's the monetary system. That's
of course, but the monetary system is always going to be the bloodline of society.
And that's the way that system works. And I'm not thrilled with it either. But that doesn't mean that I need to embrace a swastika or a Nazi emblem.
What do you want, a Care Bear symbol? Because that's not going to work. No. It doesn't matter about the system or the symbol at all. It talks about the mentality of the person that pushes it through.
As I said months ago, when you first started using that symbol, it normalizes it in our society again. And by normalizing it, by desensitizing people to it, you've opened the door to exactly the ideology that resulted in the deaths of millions of people in the Holocaust. And we are already far down that road here tonight just because of all of this, and you've contributed to it, honestly, Adrien, by recycling that emblem in a way that is entirely inappropriate. And I've said before that, yes, if you want to reclaim that on a cultural basis, I can certainly understand that. You can put that on something cultural, in a painting or on a piece of pottery or something, but you're using it in a political way. You've put it on a flag.
What do you think the cross was about then? The cross was not only about religion, it was politics.
Whataboutism. You're saying, what about this and what about that?
No, I always bring these out here. Whataboutism. I do that because
and you're not being honest. You're being disingenuous with people. Is what it
really I am being very genuine as I can, and only for the fact is one thing: we need a voice. All of us need a voice. Canadians, truckers,
you can have a
farmers,
voice, and I'm giving you a voice here right now, which might actually be a mistake, allowing you to come on here again. I thought we were going to talk about your rally and the Indian Act, which certainly is
let's forget about this picture here. Let's keep on talking about where we need to go.
Tied right into it, because now we're talking about nationalism, ethno-nationalism. Your political ideology is obviously rooted in the same kind of ideology that we've heard from fascists and Nazis in the past, which is to say that your ideology is sort of a hybrid or a new version of that. It's a neo-Nazi.
No, that's all about being honest. It's about being honest, because you can have these feelings take over Canada again like this. We have to be honest. This is how it has always been. This is the truth about things.
Being of pure blood, of First Nations pure blood. You don't want other people from other races.
Oh, we do.
Asserting authority or sovereignty over the land that you claim as yours. So I certainly understand the ideology.
We still have to have nationalism. Canada should be first.
I don't have an issue with nationalism per se, right? I don't. I think nationalism can be fine, but it depends on if you attach it to scapegoating, if you do the kinds of things that Hitler did or what some other countries have done, where you
first of all, I'm not Hitler. People. I'm not Hitler. I don't agree with what they've done.
The ideology you're presenting sounds very
no. The ideology that you guys perceive. It's what you guys perceive.
And we are seeing the exact same language, and I'm even hearing the same anti-Semitic tropes coming from you that we've been hearing, especially since since October 7th and what Hamas did in Israel, and then the counterattack.
That's their problem. That I told
it's our
everybody,
problem
leave
too.
them
It's
to
a
be.
worldwide problem now.
Leave them to be. That is their problem. You know what? Let Hamas and Israel figure it out. The Jews figure it out. We don't have to be there. Why do we have to police every single damn thing? We don't even take care of our own people.
Well, the reality is that we are there, and we were involved in World War II, and by extension,
now we have to go back over there because that's our business. That's not our business.
And now we have, it seems, more Palestinians coming to Canada. And how do you feel about that, with all these Palestinians coming here?
Why not? I mean, it's your guys' government that let them in, not mine.
Well, I'm asking you how you feel about it.
Well, how do I feel about it? I mean, if anything, I guess I feel okay about it as long as they're okay. I feel they're okay if the Jews are okay to come over here as well too, as long as if we have a real good governmental system that is nationalized and they actually become Canadian, everything like that, and they understand our culture as Canadians, that's totally fine. You see, we don't go to China and tell them how to live, and we respect their culture. Why do we have to change everything in Canada to suit everybody else in the whole world?
But you've already gone down the same line of thinking, you've given me the same lines that I've been hearing over and over again over the last few weeks. The fake Jews. What do you mean by that?
Do I mean by that? I'm not talking about that aspect. A long time ago, there used to be a tribe of Jews, right? You guys already know that. There used to be a tribe. And then it got divided into three. I'm not a major in that aspect of things, but all of a sudden it became a religion. Judaism became, it became a religion, right? And then you could be a Jew today, can't you?
I'm not Jewish.
No, but I'm asking you, if you decide to push your faith over, you could be a Jew today, can't you?
I suppose it's a possibility.
Soon, you guys will be using Native Americans as you could be a Native American today because of a religious aspect. That's what my point is. The point is this. There used to be a tribe a long time ago, but now it became a religion.
Okay, so who is it you have the issue with then?
I don't have a real issue with anybody.
Well, you've said that before you do.
I'd
have to go looking for it. Okay, Zionism, which is a form of anti-Semitism. That's actually a conflated form of anti-Semitism, which is anti-Semitism.
See, that's the thing about everybody has a definition or definition of this, definition of that, when we just can't say this is right and this is wrong, whatever it is. You see, you're talking to a person that has come, and I'm not throwing this as, I'll just put it this way. Let's just throw it this way. A Native American in reservations, 643 nations, oppression, and you're telling me that I can't have an ideology that you guys, and I'll tell you something, why can't people be honest? And it hurts people's feelings with honesty over facts over feelings.
Well, I'm asking you to be honest, and I'm asking you to be straight up and transparent.
I am being straight up.
Tell people exactly what it is you have planned, and quit mincing your words.
Okay, what do I have planned? We're looking at the Thunderbird Party is what we're looking at. We got a whole documentation, took 2.5 years to create. We're looking at nationalism. We're looking at the aspect of trying to go after the gold standard. Trying to. I don't know if that will ever happen. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, we're looking at these things and how can you actually sell water underneath the credit of debt, which is it's bullcrap. It doesn't make sense. Underneath, unless you're going with the World Bank, and you're looking at BRICS and all these things that are actually happening right now. You are a smart man, Rick, and I know you understand that inflation is always going to happen. Doesn't matter what you do unless you start selling off resources or technology or whatnot. But we don't have neither. Only we have is resources. We're the richest country in resources alone. See, you guys have to understand this is your problem. You think that your government system is
I think that
so
what
great.
you're doing is about
yours.
to become everybody's problem.
No, your problem is everybody's problem right now. Look at Justin Trudeau. He should never have rised. My Native Americans did help
Well,
him get back up
democracy's
there, but
Achilles heel is democracy itself, because the people can elect a real dickhead, which is what we've got in there right now, and somebody who is
no,
compromised. That much is very clear to me.
he's not a dickhead. He's a puppet. What you need
That's
is a
true.
monster. That's what you need. You want Canada to be economically viable. You want it to have power again. You want to have pride. You need a monster. You don't need a pussy. That's the problem
No.
with Canada.
I've heard you say that, and that scares me too. The last thing I think we need is a monster. We already
No,
have
that's
one of
that's the
We've had
thing that you
monsters
need
in the
to save
past.
this
We've had
country.
Mao, we've had Stalin, we've had Hitler in the past. We've had, other dictators that we've seen. We don't. Canada, the world does not need another damn monster.
Why do I have to cry for the white man's feelings? Why? This is not my war. Never was on your aspect of Hitler, but this is my war right here to fight for our cultures and freedoms. This is my war. Your guys' war was fought in World War II. That wasn't my freedoms. Never was. We were still on reservations.
A lot of First Nations peoples.
Yeah, and then what happened? They lost their status in the land that was lied to. They went over there for freedoms, and they went over there because they were lied to, saying that they were going to get lands. As soon as they got back from the trains, they lost their status and their land.
I am not denying that there were
lies,
and that there were oppressions in the past. And
so we never fought for our freedoms. We fought for yours.
I'm against dictators because it takes all the power away from the people. I mean, that's the thing. That's what I've noticed. That's what I've come to
do we have smart people right now? Maybe we do need a dictator, because I tell you right now, how many people know their history? How many people know politics? It becomes a popularity vote, just like the reservation. It's a popularity.
That's exactly the line of thinking that Hitler had. He said that if you had the masses of the people, it would reduce the efficiency of the system to a lower common denominator, to the lowest common denominator. Instead, he believed that it was the elite or the smartest people who should be running things, and all the power should rest with the smart people, which is exactly what you're saying. And but that isn't right.
Well, that's how our tribes used to be ran, by smart people, my friend. Maybe this is why Canada is lost.
Yeah, I'm hearing the exact same ideology from you that I've read about in the speeches of Adolf Hitler.
This is the same thing that, what's his name again? Minister Louis Farrakhan was talking about. Even all these people talking about how they did these things to the black populace in the 70s and 80s. Crack epidemic,
Louis Farrakhan is a freaking racist too.
He's not.
He's anti-Semite.
No, he's not. He's talking about real things, because they say Jews, all of a sudden we're anti-Semitic. No, we're not. No, we're not. You guys talked about savage Indians before, and I don't hold it against you. The point is, we need to have these uncomfortable discussions. Whether we like it or not, they destroy ignorance between cultures.
I do agree that we need to have these discussions. And even though, my friend Lori doesn't want to talk to you anymore, I do.
Because she knows where I'm going with it, and she doesn't want to be there. Thank you very much for having me on this. This is the kind of discussions we really need to have. Even if we don't like it or not, we need to have these discussions.
Obviously, we do need to continue talking, because you're not alone. And I know that. And we're seeing a massive rising taking place around the world, and especially here in Canada. I also see, Adrien, that Canada is on the brink of being destroyed.
Because of themselves, not because of me or nothing. It's them.
Who's them? You mean the Canadian people?
Not the Canadian people, the international people, World Economic Forum, anybody that's involved with that aspect of things. And
a lot of people are trying to destroy it right now. And wasn't it convenient that Yaroslav Hunka just happened to pop up in Parliament? Wow. At just that moment.
Just that moment.
My goodness. How did that ever happen?
Exactly. Just that
Uh-huh.
moment.
And so many people
And guess
taking
what?
advantage
All of them
that.
saluted him. Isn't that funny when we're talking about 250,000 neo-Nazis
Well, that was
after
one heck of a gotcha
1951 to
moment, wasn't it?
1954 came to
It
Canada.
happened all organically. Like nobody planned that.
Exactly. Nobody planned that at all. But I'll let you know,
Well,
there is going to be a
it
change in the
certainly does
system
open a door
because
of
we do
opportunity for
need a
you, doesn't
change
it?
in
Yes, it
Canada.
does. Yeah, it opens a great
But
big
I
giant
wanted to
door
say,
real wide for you and your friends.
no, it's not about that. I don't think
Well,
nobody
it
even
certainly,
understands what's going on. But I wanted to say thank you very much for having me on here.
I appreciate you. And I do appreciate you coming on
Me
and having
too.
the discussion.
November 3rd, 4th, and 5th, we'll be walking around Edmonton with Native Americans, you know, with our flags. And that's just how it is. So, but thank you very much, Rick. I had a great discussion with you, even though I think these are the things that needed to be talked about. But have yourself a good night.
You
I'll
too.
talk to you later on.
Okay, take care. Yeah, because they're idiots and they don't know their history and they're products of an education system. That's why they applauded. They didn't applaud because they're freaking Nazis. They applauded because they didn't know what the hell was going on. And they were lazy. And you think that they're the elites? They're not the elites. Those politicians, those members of parliament are people from ordinary walks of life. They're bankers and lawyers, and they are farmers, and they get elected to the House of Commons as members of parliament, the House of Commons, the House of the common man. And the Canadian education system has been letting people down for a long, long time because we don't study international politics here very much. In order to understand that, you really need to go to college or university. That's where you learn about it. You don't learn about it in elementary or high school. They don't teach it. And what you don't learn about it unless you specifically take the history courses at the college and university level. And most people don't do that because our system is designed for people to specialize in things. So if you become a doctor, you might not even know very much history. You can be incredibly intelligent and be incredibly ignorant when it comes to history. And that's why those 338 members of parliament stood up and clapped like seals, because somebody set that damn thing up in order to fuck the country. And somebody inside the goddamn government did it on fucking purpose because Justin Trudeau is bought and fucking paid for, and he did that on purpose. That's why it happened. And he knew that those other members of parliament didn't know any better because he knows they're all stupid when it comes to history. They are uneducated. It does not make them Nazis. It does not make Canada a Nazi nation. And I'll say this, the world is going to fucking need Canada. The world will need Canada. It needs it right now more than ever because it's Canada that takes everybody in. And it's Canada that is always held responsible at the end of all of this when we are merciful. And when we take in everybody, we take in the Jews and we take in the Palestinians and we take in the Nazis at the end of it all too, because the damn war had to stop, and we take in everybody. But if you just sit there and single out this group of people or that one person and say, well, then the whole country is corrupt. The whole country is a Nazi nation. No, it's not, because we have Jews here and we have Palestinians and we have 98-year-old Nazis too, who were hauled before the Deschênes Commission and scrutinized, and were hauled before authorities after the war to check them out, to determine whether they could be assimilated into our society and we could still maintain peace and order and good government and not have them be a threat to society. All of that was goddamn well done. And the world needs Canada now more than ever because we have been a tolerant nation, a tolerant people, an accepting country. And we do take the people from every political ideology, every religion. It's all here, and it's a giant experiment. And so, yeah, you can point over there and say, well, look at that group of Nazis. The whole country's a goddamn Nazi nation, but it is just not true. Now, unfortunately, Some people have been working very hard, very, very hard to rip this country apart at the seams, knowing how fragile it is, knowing that there are separatist movements that have been at play from the beginning, from the creation of the country, knowing that First Nations people have been oppressed, and they've been poking and prodding and lighting fires to set it all on fire, to look at every aspect of society where there's a weakness and exploit it. And they've been doing it for years. And when the pandemic hit, that was their opportunity to come in and really turn up the heat. And that's what they've been doing. They've been screwing with people's minds, using psychological warfare, coming at this from every single angle to screw the country because they want to take it over. They want to take it down, and they do want the damn resources. And they don't want Canada here to save the world at the end of it all. And we're going to need Canada. You need it right now, because during World War II and after World War II, it was Canada and the United States that opened its arms and said, bring them here. We are the solution. We were the solution. We were freedom. We had the solution. That's why people came here to the New World to begin with, to escape all of the crap in Europe and Asia. They came here because this was the land of opportunity. This was the city on the hill. And everybody's destroying it because you've been screwed in the head by people who just want to tear it apart. And now they want to replace it with what? You're listening to it right now. If you think he's alone, if you think this is some small thing, it is not. That is what is coming. What he is peddling right now. You think that's not what's coming? Give your head a shake. He just told you there are people behind him. Money, power, international governments, other people trying to take over this country right now. We are at war, and he is a traitor. He's a goddamn traitor, and he's destroying this country. He's destroying the last chance the world has. As we embark on World War III, he is the goddamn problem. He's a goddamn freaking fascistic, communistic, authoritarian who will not hesitate to line people up against the wall and shoot them all. We have to stop that, and we have to stop it now. That is what we have to do. Because I still believe in Canada, and I still believe in America. And even though these goddamn politicians who are corrupt to the bone and have been compromised to sell out our countries and have turned into the very thing that we're fighting, we still have to save it, because that's the trap. Tear the system down. We need the system now. More than ever. It's designed to self-correct because of you, because of me, because of the people. You want a government of the people, we the people? You already have it. But you don't listen to Chris Sky, who says do not comply. You better fucking comply and get out there and vote. And do it. Because that's how you do it without killing people. Because the alternative is what he's offering, which is a dictatorship, and that equals death. Enough. Stop tearing the country down. Be proud of it. Be a good Canadian and fight for it. But we don't have to kill people for it. It's not designed that way. Thank God for that. We don't need a damn dictatorship. We need the people to truly wake up and stop listening to things about frickin' chemtrails and tunnels under the earth and pedophiles holding kids in cages. Why do you think that guy at that amusement park wanted to go into the caves? Because he's screwed in the head. You're all being subjected to a massive psychological operation to get you to do exactly what Adrien wants you to do. Tear it all down. Lose faith in the system. The cops are corrupt. The cops are all criminals. We have to go in there and yank them all out, all 338 of them, and string them up by the neck, they say. Hang them all. No, listen to yourselves. You're demented. You've lost your minds. You've been pulled down into these rabbit holes and you don't even know what you're saying anymore. Now you just want to kill people. You want to kill all the politicians. You want to kill all the cops. No, it's crazy talk. Come back to reality. Come back. There's no more time. There's no more time. We are out of time. The time is now. You have to freaking wake up. Don't take the blue pill or whatever the hell color pill you think it is. Don't take the red pill. Just climb out of the goddamn rabbit hole. Come back to freaking reality and understand that this still means something. It's not just a corporation like Burger King. It's a goddamn sovereign nation of the people, by the people, for the people. It's we, the goddamn people. It's right here. You've had it all along. All you have to do is get involved and vote, 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 and tell Justin Trudeau to go screw himself. And if he loves China so much, he should just go back to China and hang out there and not come back. Because we don't want that system. We've got this. And people from all over the world can come here and we'll accept them all. It doesn't matter if they're communists, or it doesn't even matter if they're fascists. It doesn't matter if they're Christians or Muslims. They can all come here. We'll take the Israelis and we'll take the Palestinians because we do it all the time anyway. And we'll do it better because we have to. Because that's what we've been doing for a long time in this country and in the United States too. And it's very difficult because you know why? You know why it's not working? It's not because of the Canadian people and it's not because of Americans. It's because of outside influences. It's because of other people who are just power hungry, who are corrupt as hell. Tell them all to take a hike. Tell them all to take a hike. There's no more time, folks. We're on the verge of a third world war. You have to stop picking their sides because they call for unity. Do you know what unity is? Unity equals polarization. It doesn't mean come together. It means pick a goddamn side. The only way to win this game that they are making us play is to not pick a side. You don't play their game. Don't engage with them. You don't play their game by their rules. This is it. It's all right here. Right here. Go get yourself a copy and read the damn thing. It's very, very real. And it's powerful. And they hate it. They hate this thing. They don't want you to believe in it anymore. They want it gone. And when it's gone, it's never coming back. And then Adrien will be right. Because it will never, ever, 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 ever again get better. As ever.
Rick, you have the patience of a saint. As one of our viewers said in the chat, the patience of a saint. But you know, even your patience has its limits. I think you reached your limit. And I don't blame you. I reached mine too. I could not dialogue with that crazy man. And yes, he's crazy. He's absolutely nuts. And dangerous. That ideology that he's preaching is National Socialism. And I see that he has a fan club. Small, but it's a fan club. What worries me is that it's growing. And of course, people are upset at their governments. I'm upset at my government. You are too. You know, I do believe that Trudeau is a fascist. And I think that there are fascists within your government and mine. What these idiots don't realize is that they're on the same page with Trudeau and Freeland and all of their Nazi beliefs. They say they're opposing them, but they're really not. And did you hear what he said a couple of times? Of course, he'll deny it later because he's a liar. But he said a couple of times in that interview, we infiltrated the Freedom Convoy. He said that at least twice. We, whoever we is, infiltrated the Freedom Convoy. They have infiltrated what was once a good movement that stood up for freedom, that stood up for Canada. Remember back in Ottawa in February of 2022, all the Canadian flags all the Canadian pride that made every Canadian's heart swell up with pride for their country. But then there's that one asshole who showed up with a swastika flag. And to this day, nobody seems to know who it was. I don't think that flag was planted by at random. Maybe it was Adrien. Who knows? It's interesting. Nobody seems too interested in finding out. Just as you said about the Yaroslav Hunka scandal, I don't think that happened by accident either.
Not a chance.
Trudeau met with him and Zelensky in his private quarters before they honored him on the floor of Parliament. You're telling me that's an accident? Oops. Oh, we didn't know he was a Nazi. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you did. These guys have a lot of support. And as for his crazy idea of overthrowing the government by force with violence, look, I'm an American. I'm all for breaking ties with the British monarchy. We did that in 1776, and for good reason. And what Adrien probably doesn't know, or claims he doesn't know, is that 65 countries around the world have broken ties with the British monarchy. Most of them do it peacefully through a treaty.
Yeah.
They ask the crown.
That's right.
And the crown generally says yes, because
That's right.
they learned the lesson of 1776. They don't wish to repeat that. They would rather let you go peacefully. And if it is the will of the Canadian people to no longer be associated with the British crown, there are peaceful ways of severing ties with the crown and being fully sovereign and independent to the crown. Although, in essence, you really already are in a lot of ways. Canada has a very independent system of government. But you're still a protectorate of the British crown. That's your business. You're going to run your country as you see fit. What Rick said is absolutely right. You are a country of people government. You are still a democracy. We are a representative republic. And like you, nothing upsets me more than to hear people say, voting won't change anything. I'm just going to stay home. They all suck. I'm not going to vote for anybody. They're not perfect. I can't find the perfect politician to vote for, so I'm just not going to vote. And you wonder why your country's in such a mess, because you've been sitting it out for so long. And when you stay home, the bad guys win. It's your government. Change it. It's up to you. I still believe in democracy. I still believe in freedom. I still believe in a representative republic. And no, I'm not wrong. Because unlike Adrien, I study history. And I heard him tell you several times in that interview when you brought up Nazi Germany, you brought up Hitler. He's like, well, I don't know. I haven't actually read what he said. It's funny. If you really haven't read that stuff, you sure seem to parrot it awfully well. He said exactly what Hitler said.
Yeah.
And he thinks that's the solution. And he just sat there and lied to you. I don't deal well with liars. That's why I had to exit the conversation. I see you. Okay? I hear you. I've listened very closely to every interview you've ever given on this show. In my opinion, and you've been on this show way too many times, and you've taken advantage of Rick and his patience of a saint. Rick's been kind enough to give you a platform to spew your hate, to spew your crazy ideas, your National Socialism. And then you disrespect Rick and our audience by showing up tonight wearing your Thunderbird t-shirt. You might as well have just flipped us the bird. You have no idea, do you? Oh, I think you do know just how offensive that is to a lot of people. And our Jewish viewers find it incredibly offensive. They probably wanted to come through the screen and slap your face. As if there isn't enough anti-Semitism in the world right now. And you show up wearing a swastika on your t-shirt. Not only that, you sell those t-shirts to make a profit. They're literally for sale on your fucking Facebook page, dude.
Yeah.
And people probably buy them, which is really scary. And it's a free country. You can walk down the street wearing that t-shirt if you want to and show everybody just what an idiot you really are. How full of hate you really are. And, some of our longtime viewers remember his previous interviews where he went on a rant for an hour, an intolerable hour, about the Jews being the cause of all your misery and that something must be done. We need a solution, right? A final solution. That's what he's advocating. Fuck that.
Yeah.
Fuck that. Not on my watch. Ain't happening.
I honestly thought we would just have a conversation about the Indian Act.
Yeah, I'm sorry, dude, but
Well,
I had to jump in and say something.
I was hoping, and no, I was waiting for you
I had to say something.
to weigh in.
No one's gonna fucking wear a swastika t-shirt in my face and expect me not to speak up. Of course I'm gonna speak up. I'm gonna speak out against it. I'm gonna oppose it. And I'm gonna challenge him, and I did. But I wasn't going to sit there and let him gaslight me and lie to me and deny words that we all know he has said and deny views that we know he holds. I'm not going to let somebody lie to me like that. So I spoke my piece and I left.
Well, folks, I'm just grateful for everybody being here tonight.
Me too.
And
even the people out there who hate us because we love freedom and democracy.
mhm.
If you don't like that, that's your problem. Perhaps you should move to the Middle East.
Mm.
Perhaps you should move to Germany.
Mm.
Perhaps you should move to Ukraine. If you want to be a Nazi, go over there where you've got lots of company.
And think about this, folks. Pure blood.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that the use of that phrase over the last 3 years was an accident? Pure blood.
Mm.
Pure blood. Bothered me from the moment I saw it.
Me too.
As much as I have concerns about certain things, don't like the phrase.
I also don't like the movement of the so-called purebloods who won't date or have sex with or marry vaccinated people because they're afraid they might mix their blood. Where have we heard that before?
Like I said, they've twisted everything to tell us the same old story.
That's right. And a lot of fools are buying into it.
Yeah.
Because they're mad. They're taking advantage of the legitimate anger
Yes.
that we have at a corrupt government.
Yep.
You want to change the government, folks, there are ways to do it. Read your Constitution. Follow it.
Kind of makes me think that it's one side or one powerful entity controlling both sides.
Indeed. Indeed.
Get them angry and then give them the solution.
Mm. Why do you think war's breaking out in the Middle East at this very moment? You think that's an accident? I don't.
Don't pick a side. Don't play.
Precisely. That's why I refuse to do it. And I think both sides are fucked in the head. That's my take on it.
Yeah.
You know, I think the Palestinians and the Israeli government are both bad.
That's the winning move, folks. Don't pick a side. Pick this.
Exactly.
Pick
And
yourself.
if you don't like your leaders, find better ones. Get good, honest people to run for office.
This is you. Pick you. This is you.
Yes.
Get it? Pick that. Everybody else wants to get rid of it. Pick that because this is you.
It's worked out pretty well so far. I'm just saying. Canada's not perfect. The United States sure as hell ain't perfect. But our system of government, if you've ever traveled around the world, you come home and you find that it's still better than most of the alternatives out there. And we can make it a better place for everyone if we just elect honest, incorruptible representatives, not leaders, representatives. That's the idea of representative government.
It's going to take time.
They're not supposed to lead you. Yeah. They're supposed to represent you.
That's right. That's right.
You know? And at this very moment, as we speak, over on the Jimmy Dore Show, they're tearing to pieces our best hope, in my opinion, for a representative president of the United States, Robert Kennedy. He's not perfect. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's honest. And I want an honest representative president. I don't want a leader. I don't want a great dictator. I want someone who's going to represent the people and listen to the people, and Bobby does.
Well,
a lot of people are mad, though, because he won't, adopt their position on the war. That's why he's getting torn up on the Jimmy Dore Show right now, because he's not in support of Palestine. He supports Israel. That's his choice. That's his choice. But they can't respect his choice.
Well, not to go too far down.
Nah, we don't have
political
to get into
endorsement road. Just remember, this is you.
That's right.
Just choose you.
Find leaders and representatives who believe in that document right there. Because they take an oath to protect and defend that in the United States. I know it's different in Canada.
Oh, they take an oath here too. They do. But it's been an emotional night.
It has indeed.
And folks,
an emotional week.
Yeah.
A few weeks.
And with that, I think it's time to wrap up.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. It's always good to see you, Rick.
Good to see you too, Lori.
Thank you for platforming a Nazi. Because it's important that people hear that. I know that a lot of people don't like to see a Nazi platformed at all. Even it makes me uncomfortable. But it's important to hear them espouse their absolutely and utterly insane views, and let the viewers decide.
It's important also to be aware that it's everywhere right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being cloaked in
freedom talk.
Yeah.
How sinister is that? Think about that.
Yeah.
When fascism comes to Canada, it'll come cloaked in the Canadian flag and they'll talk about freedom. Sure, buddy, sure. I don't think what you're advocating is freedom for everybody. Only freedom for some. The rest of you, concentration camps. That's where you're going. If you follow that guy.
And I'll be back tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the flip side. Peace.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.